Okay, so I'm doing a song that Cecilia Gentili, who passed away last week, she had in one of her shows, and her show was called The Knife Cuts Both Ways, and it was about, like, the immigration process and how, like, it kind of, the way that she needed to present things to the visa people was so different than, like, her own memories, because she had to, like, basically trauma dump and talk about all of, like, the horrors she had endured in Argentina, as opposed to, like, the fact that she actually had a really supportive, like, family, a lot of her family at least. Like, her grandma was really, like, kind and sweet to her and, like, recognized her as a woman even as a child, and, like, that kind of a thing. But then for the visa people, she had to, like, say all these things about, like, how overarchingly bad Argentina is, and she's like, that's not how I felt. So she, in the show, does this, like, when she was talking, like, as herself, telling these stories to the visa people, wound up, having the recordings of her, like, recollection and such be overridden, I guess, by this beautiful song that was a song that she danced to as a kid in, like, her aunt's wigs and stuff, and that her grandma was like, oh, we'll dress you up all pretty and, like, make you, you know, be able to be a star like the people you see on TV. So every time, even, like, before she died, every time I hear this song, I think of her. And now they're trying to play a pop-up ed, so maybe I won't be able to have the lyrics after all. Whatever, I did it without lyrics last night. But, point being is that, yeah, this song, like, plays fairly frequently at my work, and even before she died, I always thought of her every time it played, and now I will forevermore. And it was really sweet, because the day after she died, I was going to ask them to play this, and then they wound up playing it anyways without me asking, which was very beautiful and a nice moment. Anyways, have a sip of water first. So, Gloria, you're always on the run now, running after somebody. You gotta get him somehow. I think you gotta slow down before you start to blow it. I think you're headed for a breakdown, so be careful not to show it. And you really don't remember, was it something that they said? All the voices in your head calling Gloria, Gloria, don't you think you're falling? If everybody wants you, why isn't anybody calling? You don't have to answer, leave them hanging on the line. Whoa, calling Gloria, Gloria, I think they got your number. I think they got the alias that you've been living under, but you really don't remember. Was it something that they said? All the voices in your head calling Gloria, Gloria, how's it gonna go down? Will you meet him on the main line, or will you catch him on the rebound? Will you marry for the money, take a lover in the afternoon, feel your innocence slipping away, don't believe it's coming back soon, and you really don't remember, was it something that they said? Are the voices in your head calling Gloria, Gloria, don't you think you're falling? If everybody wants you, why isn't anybody calling? You don't have to answer, leave them hanging on the line. Oh, calling Gloria, Gloria, I think they got your number. I think they got the alias that you've been living under, but you really don't remember. Was it something that they said? Are the voices in your head calling Gloria? So that's the first part, and there's two parts of this little Cecilia Gentili inspired set. So that one, interestingly enough, even before the funeral, always reminded me, because of my upbringing, of, like, Catholicism, because of Gloria being, like, one of the chants that they have, you know, throughout a lot of the hymns and such. And they had the funeral, as I'm sure some of y'all have seen around, St. Patrick's Cathedral, which wound up erupting into this huge cataclysmic Catholicism hubbub of them getting all pissy about this being a trans person having a funeral. They decided it was deceptive because we weren't like, this is a trans person, like, prior to the funeral, because the people who organized it were just like, we're going to tell you her name, we're going to give you the money, we're going to give you the resources, and we're going to tell you how we want this. And they were like, cool. And then they didn't Google her name, they didn't notice anything about her being trans or anything about her being a sex worker or anything about that. And then after the funeral, they got riled about it. Fucking as if Mary Magdalene doesn't exist. Like, y'all, come on. And so then they also got riled about the practices, the funerary practices that were very important to the community. So, like, we praised her as a saint because she was. And, oh, I forgot my prop. I was going to show y'all. I have the little playbill thingy. And, yeah, and it's all very, like... I love how primarily it's all photos. Like, there's a teen little thing that says all of, like, the, here, we're gonna have this reading and this song and whatever, but, like, the majority of it is just all photos. But my point was, though, is that, like, they said one of the eulogies was in Spanish and then being translated as it was spoken, and it said, they said, Saint Cecilia, mother of all whores, and I loved that. And there was another one where at the end of the service, when they were carrying the coffin out, the priest and the, like, choir singer was doing the, like, hymnal that they were, like, supposed to do, just because that was, like, the way that they did things. And we were chanting Cecilia, Cecilia, Cecilia over the din of that, as a whole collective. And it was just this beautiful, like, trans reclamation of this space that we otherwise wouldn't be allowed. And it was beautiful, and Cecilia would have loved it, and this was, like, her family's wishes, and you ought to honor a dead person and their family's wishes when they die. But the Catholicism and the Catholic Church decided the whole fucking diocese is having this whole hissy fit about it. And they decided, they had a mass of penitents because they decided that it was this horrifying, like, devastating thing to have this happen during Lent of all times, where we're supposed to rebuke evil, and we invited evil into our establishment. And so then they decided that the people who were there, all the trans people, were blasphemous and demonic, and wow, I've never felt so seen. So that's my little joke. And so the second song that I do for the little Cecilia-inspired set that I did last night, I'm doing again tonight, is my own song, Demonsona, because it's relevant and representing how I'm seen by the Catholics. But I'm having a sip again. This is my own song, so hopefully I know the lyrics to it. Okay. And I would love it simple, and I would love it clean, and I would love up-tempo, and I would love serene. But that is not my language, and that is not my choice. I don't like how those words sound when they are in my voice. I sing with blood in my mouth, sparkling off teeth that gleam, psyche that's fucked and fragile, pulled apart at the seams. I've come to terms with madness. I call myself insane. You know that sanity's a myth, right? Concocted to sell more brains? Ha! I don't know when I'm joking or when I am sincere. But what does it matter, really, so long as I persevere? I wish that I were something stable and good and pure, but then I'd lose my sparkle. What are coping mechanisms for? I think perhaps I'll get better and grow out of this phase, but then I am left to wonder, just how will I spend my days? Maybe I'd get some hobbies, focus on my career, but then how would I manage when all that I know is here? I was raised up in chaos, a flower grew out of dirt. I'm doubled over with anti-pain the second that I don't hurt. So I say I'm a monster. It's far easier this way. The time will come to give it up, but that's for another day. And so I ask you, darling, if you're willing to stay, will you abide my antics? Can you take me this way? If you say no, I don't blame you. Ain't no skin off my nose. It's better for everyone anyway to be alone as I decompose. 'Cause perfect accepting people are martyrs in their own right. And I don't want those I love to feel like they have to fight. I can stay in my room. I can pretend I write songs safe inside of my tomb with no one to right all my wrongs. I think that I can take it. I'm selfish and stupid and strong. I may well be immortal, but life really ain't that long. I am childish and broken, feared 'cause I am afraid, fully fucking committed to die in this bed I made, complete with my fake incisors, fangs as sharp as my claws, ribs that crack cutely open, dislocating like my jaws. Every part of me is unhinged, but I still don't have a name to scream so that I am summoned, to whisper so I am tame.